Hello, and welcome to the Nerdy Folks Podcast, where conversations about nerdy things inspire greater faith in Jesus. My name is Matthew Seipel Anderson. I am the host of the show. Today we are talking about the topic of franchise overkill. Are franchises that have been running for a long time, are they just overdoing it? Or is there some life left in those things, and should we keep it going? That's the question I want to talk about today. And this question is inspired by something funny that I saw recently. So, you may or may not know that in 1987, there was a movie called Spaceballs, which was a spoof of Star Wars. It's quite hilarious. It's a classic. And they recently announced Spaceballs 2. So I had to check it out, and I watched the trailer video, and the trailer video is literally just a Star Wars-style opening crawl. And that opening crawl is the inspiration for this episode, so I would like to read it to you right now. 38 years ago, there was only one Star Wars trilogy, but since then, there have been a prequel trilogy, a sequel trilogy, a sequel to the prequel, a prequel to the sequel, countless TV spinoffs, a movie spinoff of the TV spinoff, which is both a prequel and a sequel. Not to mention 2 Dunes, 7 Jurassic Parks, 2 Avatars, plus 3 upcoming Avatars, making 5 Avatars, 36 MCU movies with 2 different Robert Downey Jr.'s, DC Attempt 1, DC Attempt 2, an animated Lion King, a live-action animated Lion King, a live-action animated Lion King prequel, 8 Harry Potter movies, a TV series remaking the same 8 Harry Potter movies, a whole streaming service of Star Trek, 7 Alien movies, 2 of which are also Predator movies, not to be mistaken for the 6 Predator movies that are not also Alien movies. 1 Prometheus, which is kind of an Alien movie, 4 Beatles movies, and Oppenheimer. But in 38 years, there has only been 1 Spaceballs. It's hilarious, it's genius, but it does raise a great point. Man, these franchises have been around and around and around, and remakes and prequels and reboots and soft reboots. So what I'm going to do is intersperse some thoughts about these franchises who have been around a long time in between clips of interviews I did at the Realm Makers Conference, where I interviewed people who are writing fresh stories, new characters, new worlds, and so we're going to get a little new and a little old on the show today. But first, let's talk about some news. In the news today, we've got The Mandalorian and Grogu coming out on May 22nd of 2026. The Mandalorian and Grogu is both a sequel and a prequel happening between Star Wars trilogies. Spider-Man Brand New Day coming out in July of 2026. That one is a sequel. Avengers Doomsday, December 18th of 2026. Another sequel. Rings of Power Season 3 is coming sometime in 2026 or maybe 2027. They're currently filming it. That, of course, is a prequel. And The Hunt for Gollum, December 17th, 2027. I wasn't sure if that was actually a real movie, but it seems like it is. So that is a prequel of sorts. It takes place during the Lord of the Rings movies. But I would essentially call it a prequel because it's fleshing out more things that happened right at the beginning of the story. So this news fits perfectly into my topic for today. Are these things being overdone? Are we tired of them? One side of my brain says, yes, give us some fresh stories. Give us some new ideas. These things have been around. We know these characters. We know these stories. We don't need another reboot or another sequel. Just give us something fresh. But then I see all these titles on my page here. I'll probably see every single one of these, and I'll do so excitedly. So as long as we're willing to pay for these things that are comfortable, familiar, and exciting enough, they are going to keep making them. So I don't know. I'm divided. I'd be curious to hear what you think. Feel free to drop a comment down below. And while you do so, I'm going to queue up our first interview from Realm Makers for this episode.
Yeah, so I'm Z.S. Diamante. I'm an epic fantasy author and a cozy fantasy author of recent times. And I'm excited to be here at Realm Makers because I'm excited to be among my people and be able to share all the fun fantasy worlds that we are running through and adventuring through here in Finlestia.
That's awesome. So you said cozy fantasy?
Yes. So it got cozy fantasy and epic fantasy. Epic fantasy is that, the world's ending, huge stakes, everything we got to do, we got to work together to try and save the world. And cozy fantasy is more of those personal stakes. Dwarven warrior who got injured in a battle and now he can't be a warrior anymore, so now what is he going to be? Okay. So he's got to figure that out. Kind
of a smaller scale story, but still like very human, very moving.
Yeah, exactly.
That's rad. Yeah. So where can people find your stuff?
Yeah, people can find me at freefantasyfiction.com, where they can find 7 free fantasy stories about characters that they'll meet in the world of Finlestia. So it's pretty cool.
Okay, super. Awesome. Well, thanks for being on the show. Z.S. Diamante. You can find a link to his website in the show notes. Definitely check out his stuff. I really like the idea of cozy fantasy, and that is a perfect segue into my first thought about franchise overload. And since I started the show talking about Spaceballs, it's only appropriate that I talk a little about Star Wars. Now, Star Wars is a massive galaxy, massive universe, and so there is a lot of room for new storytelling. However, I think one of the struggles that Star Wars has is competing with itself. And here's what I mean by that. The original vision of George Lucas was already huge. It was a galaxy-level threat that had taken the Sith generations to orchestrate and put in place. And so it's really hard to pick up after that and try to do something bigger, better, newer. It's almost like it would be better to turn a corner and do some cozy fantasy or some cozy sci-fi. And one could really argue that the most successful Star Wars things to come out recently have been just that. You've got Andor. It's a very human story focused on one guy and his friends, and you really care about the characters. Very character-driven. The Mandalorian really works in a similar way. It's really all about Din Djarin and Grogu and this cast of characters that you care about, with the backdrop that Palpatine is only partly dead, and his evil scientists are cooking up all kinds of horrible things for the galaxy in the future. But really, those big things, those big galaxy-altering things, are more in the background, and what we really care about are our main characters. I think they could move forward by doing something with the Rey character, but it would have to be a slow build that wouldn't really culminate until the Rey character reached that mentor or guide state in her Jedi career. I also think there is a huge amount of potential with the Old Republic and the origins of the Jedi. Star Wars does have plans to explore that era, and that could be very fresh, and I can't wait to see what they do with it. All right, let's check in with another creator of new, exciting content.
Hi, I am Laura Vinaran-Donkbaugh. I am an author in several flavors, both fiction and nonfiction. But here, today, I'm here with mostly epic fantasy. Hey. I've been coming to Realm Makers for close to a decade, I think.
That's
I don't know,
amazing.
A while, yeah.
So what project are you really excited about right now promoting? What's your fresh thing that you...
I mean, I have some books that literally arrived Friday night here. They got unpackaged for the first time.
That's awesome.
So that's the new Eyes of Mandaral duology, so the Poet's Eye and the Prince's Song, and those are like... Literally, we were kind of watching the tracking information, and they arrived at Expo, and we brought them out and put them on the table. So
okay, so tell us about that story. What's going on with that story?
So you know how mostly the classic fantasy trope is farm boy has to save the world, and in this case, the farm boy must stop the world from being saved. He gave up everything to save his life from a magical threat that turned out to be kind of fake, and so now he's kind of at lost ends, meets up with a sorceress friend, and they have to stop someone who is saving thousands of lives.
Okay. Interesting. Turning an old trope on its head. I love it.
Yes.
That's great. Well, thanks for being interviewed.
Thank you.
Yeah. Laura Van Arendonk Ba. Thank you so much for being on the show. A link to her site will also be in the show notes. Again, I have to say I love the originality of the story. I think a franchise that I could contrast her originality with is the Jurassic Park franchise. Now, they've put new and interesting twists on the Jurassic Park theme, but in reality, it's kind of been the same story told 3 different times. I mean, they're doing a 3rd trilogy now, and that's one that I think could be laid to rest. Or they could do a complete reboot with a broader vision in mind so there'd be more coherence and so they could keep it going longer. To me, that would make sense. The one caveat to that thought is that I have yet to see the most recent Jurassic Park Rebirth movie starring Scarlett Johansson. So maybe I'm being a little too rough on it. Maybe I'm speaking from a place of ignorance. I don't know. That's just my thought at this moment with Jurassic Park. What do you guys think? Do you think Jurassic Park has enough oomph, has enough gas in the tank to keep going as a franchise, or is this one just kind of played out? Okay, one more interview from Railmakers. This interview is with Molly Reeder from Fable Company. They are working to inspire and train up-and-coming filmmakers who perhaps will create the next generation of new and original content rather than rehashed stuff.
Well, my name is Molly Reeder, and I'm with the Fable Company, which is a multimedia production company. This year, we came to Railmakers to promote our new program for aspiring filmmakers, which is called Fearless Indie Filmmaker. Hopefully be launching at the beginning of next year. So right now, we're just connecting with aspiring filmmakers here at the Expo, talking to them kind of about areas where they feel underserved, obstacles that may be holding them back from their dreams, and really just learning more about how we continue to build out our content and our program to best empower people to pursue their love for filmmaking.
That's amazing. So if someone is listening and that's them, how can they get in touch with you?
We are at www.fearlessindie, that's INDIE, filmmaker.com. And right now we're taking a wait list, so that way if you sign up for the wait list, you'll be the first to know when the program launches, and you will also have access to basically early bird pricing when enrollment opens.
Okay. And so you've got basically what's the right word? Not apprenticeship, but just a training program for like indie filmmakers?
It's going to be a fully digital, self-paced program. And what this was born out of, I've been in production for a little over 10 years, and really what this program was born out of is what I wish that was available as a resource, which is not just filmmakers talking about how to make films in the abstract, but actually showing you how they made their film. So in March, I had a short film that I was wanting to produce, and so what we did was we've been documenting the process and building the course library around the process of actually making this film. So the students will be able to see the finished film as a case study, and they will actually be able to go behind the scenes. And I want to make some of the processes that are a little bit more opaque about filmmaking, I want to pull the curtain back on those. So you're going to be able to know like how much we spent to make this film, and like what those line items were, what were like maybe where we ended up spending more than we expected, so that you can learn from that and know how to make your own budget. How do you make a schedule? How do you get people involved? Like a lot of people that I've talked to this weekend have said, what do you feel like is the biggest thing holding you back from your dream of making a movie? And they say, I don't feel like I know people, or I don't know the right people. So we're going to talk about that in the course. How did I find the people to come together and make a film? How do you do that, especially if you don't have a big budget to pay everyone? So those are things, again, those tend to be roadblocks. And I picked the name Fearless because my whole thing is that it takes a lot of emotional resilience and creative confidence to make a movie. It's very hard and grueling to make a film. And so really I wanted the course to be designed to break down barriers, especially barriers of people feeling like having imposter syndrome or feeling like I don't know enough or I don't know the right things to get started.
FearlessIndieFilmmaker.com. That is the website where you can go and learn all about their course. Hey, thank you so much, Mr. Diamante, Laura, and Molly for being on the show and for taking time at Railmakers to hang out and chat with me. I love talking with creators and people who are making original stuff. I really think and believe that every act of creativity is a reflection of our being made in God's image. Not that every creative thing that people do is godly, but it is a reflection of the fact that we are made in God's image. We have agency, we have creativity, we can be self-aware, sentient beings in this world. And that is so special. That is something that no other creature on this planet does. And I think that when we recognize that aspect of ourselves, we can see every creative thing we do, whether it's an inventive recipe, a creative way to do our kids' hair, a painting, a book, anything that takes thought and imagination and creativity. We can see that as really an act of worship and really something that reflects God. Just recognizing and appreciating the source elevates our creativity. And that's a good place to stop before I get too far in the weeds with all this. But hey, thank you so much for listening, and thank you to those of you out there in the audience who support our show. It really means a lot. It helps keep the show alive. And if you would like to join that group and be one of our supporters, you can click the Linktree link. There are ways to give and different ways to listen there. Just check out the links in the show notes. There are several ways that you can give and support us. So, man, new things coming in the future. We're going to have Katie back on the show. I've got a new website in the works right now. Some Nerdy Folks products are in the works. So my episode production has been a little quiet, but my brain has been working overtime to keep this conversation about nerdy things going, because it brings us closer to Jesus. And love you. God bless. Take care. Bye-bye.